Shifting focus now, India is set to formally join the investigation into the Bondi beach attack in Sydney. A joint team is being sent to Australia with a focus on attacker Sajid Akram's Indian link, his Indian passport that he renewed just very recently, even though he's lived in Australia for close to 3 decades. His recent visit to India 3 to 4 years ago is also now under the scanner. Intelligence agencies will be probing his ideological leanings, possible radicalization and any ties to terror networks. CNN News18, in fact, has access details of Akram's Hyderabad connection, including the number and purpose of his visits during his 27-year stay in Sydney. Sajid Akram renewed his Indian passport just in 2022 for 10 more years, while Navid Akram updated his Australian passport in 2021. In fact, CNN News18, my colleague, has been reporting from Hyderabad, where there are links of this duo, or at least of the father who left close to 3 decades ago. But as that investigation now shifts to India, we're trying to piece together the mystery. Here's a report from what used to be Sajid Akram's home in Hyderabad.
Bondi beach terror accused Sajid Akram is said to have entered India from Sydney to Hyderabad almost 6 times. Now, the police are looking at this particular timeline of the 6 various years from his 27 years that he's been out of India as part of the investigations. Because each time also he has come in here, he has had some kind of agenda. One could be to introduce his wife, the second could be to introduce his son, but later also to dispose of a property which is their ancestral property as well. But what is important to understand is the fact that while the investigators have been questioning Sajid Akram's family, they have revealed that he has made multiple attempts for an Australian citizenship, and each time that citizenship has been denied. Now, why it is important for him is because they claim that in Australia, to exercise your voting rights, you need a citizenship. It is on this, looking at this, that he actually married his European descent Australian wife, and later he has had 2 children, one of them Naveed, who's also the second terror accused in this particular Bondi beach shooting. Now, what in terms of, if you look at the timeline, let's quickly go through. In the early 2000s, now Akram is said to have returned to Hyderabad to inform his family about his intention to marry Venergrosa. Now, but the family is completely against it. But after some time, he manages to convince his mother and certain relatives, and a traditional Muslim nikah is conducted. But it's important that in between the year 2003 and 2004, that he comes in another visit, this time to introduce his son, who's around 3 years old, Naveed. In 2009, Akram's father passes away, but he's unable to visit this funeral, his father's funeral, and he comes a month later. In between all this, in 2016, he looks to dispose of family property, ancestral property in Chalibanda, which is in Hyderabad's old city area. It's quite a bustling area, and he tries several attempts to get in prospective buyers. He has also gets his teenage son to introduce him to several other relatives as well. Now, it is only around a few years later, around 2018, that he's able to dispose of this property. His last visit is in 2022, and this is also the time when Sajid Akram renews his Indian passport for a term of 10 years. A year before that, Naveed, who's an Australian citizen also, he renews his passport for around 10 years as well. All this timeline is under the scanner. There's an intra-departmental as well as inter-government, that is the Indian government authorities, Telangana police, as well as the Australian government and police, working very closely and in tandem in the investigation of this particular case.
Rohini, my colleague, now joins us live, getting us more details. She's been in Hyderabad tracking the very movements of this man, this individual and his family, even though he's been out of the country for close to 3 decades now. As far as the Hyderabad link is concerned, Rohini, the initial assessment and the confirmation that came in from the Hyderabad police as well, they had also said that his radicalization has nothing to do with anything in India or in Hyderabad, because it's been far too long since he moved to Australia. But the fact that he kept his Indian passport all this while and even traveled to India very often, that's something that should have been flagged off, isn't it?
Well, that's something that they're also investigating, because right now they're also working in tandem with the Australian authorities. But the fact remains that, number one, they have said that as of now, they have found no links of any radicalization that could have possibly taken place by Sajid Akram in Telangana, or for that matter in India as well. But I had a very straight question to the DGP of Telangana whether there were sleeper cells he was in connection, where he was in contact with, or he was in touch with people as well. But one thing that we're also getting to understand from our sources is that it needn't happen, physical kind of radicalization needn't happen. It could have even been online radicalization, but needn't have happened in India as well. Now, number two, and more importantly, is also the tracking of the family, and why they say that they would like to keep the privacy of the family, and while the questioning has also happened, there are certain details that have come out. The fact that he had come 6 times and repeatedly tried to apply for an Australian citizenship, and it is this time that has been denied time and again. The reasons why the citizenship was denied is something that needs to be understood, but this was denied with the Australian authorities. The DGP of Telangana also told CNN News 18 that right now he's still awaiting any communication from Australia, because right now they have only issued information what they have in terms of the timeline. The timeline that CNN News 18 has from 1998 when Sajid Akram left Hyderabad all the way to 2022 when he made his last visit in February. But the renewal of the passport is important because it happened via the Australian embassy, and so it happened in February 2022. That extension took place of renewal of passport happened for 10 years. Now, the question is, why did that take place? Why was he insistent on an Australian citizenship? One thing we also understand is that to vote in Australia, you need to have citizenship. Possibly, maybe is it one of the part of that radicalization process where they're looking at making it himself as a local in Australia, and then go through and worm his way through other groups as well. Another important thing is whether he was in touch with sleeper cells even back in Australia. The ISIS training and the possible ideology and the radicalization could have possibly happened through various other means. So all that is also being tracked. His money transactions, his bank transactions, the property selling the property that he sold from the old Hyderabad area, which he later reinvested in Australia. But it's interesting to note that money which he got from the sale of this particular ancestral home, which was his part of his property, was used to buy a house back in Australia, which he transferred the entire, including his rights, to his wife's name last year. So maybe was this all mapped and charted out as part of the entire execution and planning? And one thing the Telangana police also say is they do not have information whether Naveed, that is the son, had come into India after the first visit that Naveed had somewhere around 2012, where he's supposed to have come along with his father. So in terms of right now, what the Telangana police say is whatever information they have, the timeline, the money transactions, as well as the kind of information that they have from the family has been shared with the authorities for now. Any other connection may be possibly between the Australian authorities and the central agencies.
Right, Rohini, do stay on with us. You've been speaking about Telangana DGP and what he's told you of where this is really going. So we do want to play that out for our viewers as well. Let's listen into what the Telangana DGP had to say about what transpired in Australia and how the Indian agencies are going to be assisting with that investigation.
Has there also the fact that Sajid Akram's family has been taken for questioning, and the fact that he had also renewed his passport for 10 years? Can you give us some details as to what? Number one, my first thing about your timeline. Yes. He has come 6 times to Telangana. These 6 times, was there any question about his radicalization or connection?
First, there is no information about his radicalization in Hyderabad or India. His 6 times he came here for some personal reasons, not for any other reasons. The information which we have, the inquiries which we have conducted. So there is no radicalization in either Hyderabad or in India.
So, but in terms of the family also, are they being questioned? Because right now in the Toli Chowki where they're staying, his brother, elder brother that is there, have they served some information and given you some information about the fact that when he had come, he had tried to apply for Australian citizenship multiple times?
He must have done it because he was carrying an Indian passport, the gentleman. So he must have tried for Australian citizenship. So I don't think there is any connection between his radicalization or his citizenship. And then, secondly, about his, yes, we did inquire from his family about his background, his bent of mind and all that, his intentions and all that. But nothing has come out of that about his radicalized bent of mind.
Anytime during your investigation, did he look like an imminent threat? Because there also, he was under the radar because possibly the citizenship would have been denied for certain reasons. Was any of the family or anything an imminent threat?
No, we don't have any information about that.
And the Australian authorities, are they in touch with you? Is this a coordinated effort between both countries?
So far, no Australian authority has contacted us, Telangana police. They must be in contact with the central agencies, but not with us.
Rohini, have you been able to speak with any of the family members, if there are any left behind of the Akrams? Has there been any connection? Because the son is, who's also involved in the Bondi attack, is an Australian citizen.
See, the family, that is the immediate family, the elder brother of Sajid Akram, Shahid Akram, is a doctor and a practicing doctor in Telangana. But he and his family, that is including his wife, 2 children, and Akram's mother, they have been moved to protective custody by the police. Now, they live in this area called Al Hasnat Colony in Toli Chowki in Hyderabad. But the house has been vacated a few days ago because not only is the fact that the police, after questioning them, had moved them to a safer place, but there have been constantly people who are coming there and questioning them, or even for that matter, the media standing outside. So they also have clearly cleared their house, and right now the only people we can actually connect with are our police sources. But what we have given to understand is that after the information was revealed that Sajid Akram belonged to Hyderabad, and the questioning of the intelligence agencies also have taken place with the family, they have been moved to a safer location as well. And the Telangana police also repeatedly said that it's better to maintain, to keep their privacy, because they are right now also a part of they're under the scanner, right? And so right now we are not being able to speak to them, but we spoke to several neighbors as well. And they were saying that the family is largely a conservative family. They do not interact too much with them, but they have only maybe possibly met the father, that is, we are talking with Sajid Akram's father, who used to talk to people and have social contact. But beyond that, that family has been largely conservative and remained to themselves. And this is what we have seen also, several other families of people who possibly have been linked to such kind of terror modules also. They largely keep to themselves.
Right, so what comes out of that investigation, we'll have to wait and watch. For the moment though, Rohini, thank you so much for getting us the latest.